Welcome back to the Fan Speak Network. I'm your host, Fred Astaire, here today to eat my crow because I think I got almost everything wrong last week. Tyler was supposed to be here. I don't know. I just figured we're tired. We're already 10 minutes late. JC didn't jump on. I thought he was going to want to jump on. So I'm here. Comments, guys. Go live with me. Help me out here right now as we wait for Tyler to come in. Yeah, and away we will go. Boy, what a rough weekend for me. What a rough weekend as a Raiders fan. I mean, it just feels like the season's over already. We can't even beat the Carolina Panthers. And we understand now, and it's just another thing that I was wrong about. The problem was Bryce Young. I thought the problem was the organization. I thought the problem was the coaching, and I thought they were unfairly putting this kid out there. But boy, I was wrong because they look so much better with the real quarterback under there. And I'll tell you what, I know Bryce Young was trying to be positive on the sidelines, but he had to just be feeling like it's over. It's just over for me. I mean, for the team to look that bad and then to look that good, and we only changed one player. I mean, at least they're not the Miami Dolphins, though. At least they didn't put a bunch of money into a guy that really can't get it done. So the good thing for the Panthers is, they made a mistake and they move on. And boy, Caleb Williams looked pretty good too. So I'm going to want to talk about that one as well. Hopefully Tyler will get in soon. But guys, jump in the comments, man. I know you guys want to roast me. You guys never want to give me credit when I get things right, but I know you're all going to be here to roast me when things go wrong. So let me hear it. I'm here to take my lumps. I'm here to take the body blows. I'm here to just, admit how terrible my predictions were over the weekend. I'm going to do some overall thoughts before we dive in game by game. Let's see. I mean, Thursday night, how terrible was that game? And I got that one wrong too. I was on the Patriots plus the points. And they looked absolutely terrible. Aaron Rodgers looks pretty good. So, Meg, if you're watching, I'll give you credit there. I wasn't sure what he's going to be able to do at 40 years old. Looks fine to me. Now, is that going to be an indication of how bad the Patriots are? And I'm going to get into that when we're talking about the Seahawks. And I know they're 3-0, but boy, how easy that schedule has been. But boy, I mean, Jacoby Brissett throws for 98 yards. I mean, wow. I know the Jets have a good defense, but seriously, 98 yards. Unbelievable there. So let's see what else. The most exciting game of the afternoon, that was the Rams-Niners, and Rams come back. And I didn't expect that to see that coming too. I thought the Niners were going to walk away with that game. Really just shows that I think the Stafford is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL, as he's just taking a team being held together by its shoestrings and leading the way. So great performance by him there. Not a lot going on in Lions-Cardinals. We had liked that one for some DFS purposes, and that game did not go off like we thought. I think the total was around 50, ended up at 33. So not a lot of scoring there. Lions get it done, and the Cardinals, I don't know. I can't wait to hear what Tyler has to say about that. Let's see, other thoughts. I mean, Caleb's way better than Anthony Richardson. I hope we all see that now. Right now, Anthony Richardson's probably on pace to have the worst ADP of any quarterback in baseball. So if you're out there playing best ball and you're building around the Colts, which I advised against, I got that right. Don't have a lot of Richardson teams. Fortunately, I have a lot of Tua Trevor teams, so what do I know? But Anthony Richardson, once again, great highlights. Just can't get the normal things done. Both teams there are 1 and 2. I'll save the Broncos debacle for when Tyler jumps on. Packers, Titans. Only surprised there was how easy they won. I mean, no game wasn't even close. 17 points in the first quarter for the Packers against the Titans defense that I thought was pretty good. And, be careful what you wish for. I mean, I wish I had Mike Vrabel as my coach. Do you think the Raiders would have played like that if Mike Vrabel was the coach of the Oakland Raiders? Hell no. I still can't believe he's out there, and we see how much he missed to the Titan teams as they look. I mean, they look pretty bad at 0-3. Well, it looks like they'll be in the market for a quarterback next year. I don't see how they go back with Levis. And that's where fantasy gets weird. 260 with 2 TDs doesn't look that bad, but watch the game and he did not look good at all. Another surprise, not that the Vikings won, because I had talked about leaning that way in that game, but the manner in which they did it to hold the Houston Texans to 7 points. We had talked on whatever day I did the show. I guess it was last Tuesday. Boy, I do this show comes on early. Whether or not the fact that Brian Flores was going to game plan for the same exact offense 2 weeks in a row would help him or would help Houston, because they had an idea of what Flores was going to do. Advantage Flores there as he holds the high-flying Houston Texans offense, who a lot of people thought would be the highest-scoring team in the league, to only 7 points. Vikings are for real, so I'll be able to victory lap Tyler on that whenever he does show up to jam out with me here. Guys, this is Fanspeak Network on YouTube, presented by fanspeak.com. Here you are, buddy.
Why you sound so happy?
I thought you'd be eager to jump on today, bro.
I got stuck behind school buses and old people on the road. That's never fun.
Bro, you got everything right but Charbonnet.
I mean, you get it. Sometimes I get stuff wrong. Just a running back I don't like, so we went against them.
All right, let's dive right in, Tyler. First of all, overall thoughts by week 3. It was one of my worst weeks ever as an NFL handicapper in like the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, underdogs still seem to be covering a lot of these games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Saints are as good as people thought they were.
Yeah.
The Raiders, we'll get to those. We'll get to them. The Rams were impressive without their weapons.
Do we have to?
San Fran looks like they might be these injuries might be piling up a lot quicker than we thought. Even though they're laying 10.5 against New England this week, they didn't look good letting them come all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams finally threw a touchdown. That was a finally thing. So,
all right, let's go game by game, and let's start with Caleb Williams, because let's continue arguing, Tyler. Let's just. Yeah. We've been arguing all year. We're going to continue to argue. All right. Hey, what's up, Meg? Yeah. Yeah, I guess the league's better. I don't know. Actually, I like him. I think he's a cool guy. He's a NorCal guy. Let's talk about the Bears and the Colts, though, Tyler. Caleb Williams completely outplayed Anthony Richardson, but the Colts get the easy win with their ability to run the ball. Talk to me about your thoughts there. I think Caleb's going to be fine. My concern, maybe this is a simple. No, he's Darnold-like in his interceptions.
He is Darnold-like, but his offensive line is so bad. Like, they give him no time, and then he tries to create stuff down the field on balls he probably shouldn't be throwing, and that's where a lot of those interceptions are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would rather have a guy that's at least pushing it down the field than check down Charlie. Right? I mean, at least he's trying to make plays.
But he's throwing in triple coverage sometimes. It's just not the best. I mean, AR, he's all over the place. One play, it's the bomb to Alec Pierce. The next play, he's doing a 360 interception to a D-back. He's just never going
to make it. He's never going to be consistent enough to really lead like a championship caliber team. Like, he might be able to be good, even like a playoff level quarterback, because how many teams make it now? But I mean, the level of improvement he's going to need, he can't make an easy throw. It has to be like unbelievable for him to make it here. So talking about these teams, the Bears are 1-2. They should be 0-3, but we won't relitigate that week 1 again. Colts get their first win on the season. What are we doing with power rankings on both teams?
Probably leave Colts. I mean, I wouldn't upgrade the Bears. I keep them towards the bottom. Probably downgrade the Colts a little bit. But they're going to win games against bad rush defenses.
And they're going to win games at home.
Yeah.
I think we just bet on them at home and fade them on the road. I mean, not right, but I mean, it's like my initial deal is just I'm only going to consider playing this
taking the 1.5 with them at home this week spread.
Where are they at? Who are they playing?
They're at home. They're 1-point underdogs to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, Steelers are going to win. Steelers are the best team, and Steelers are awesome.
Stop.
You're taking the Colts?
I'm not taking them, but we're not the best team in the league. Like you were getting ready to say.
No, you're not the best. That's why I stopped myself. And then I almost said AFC North. I don't know, though. What do you think?
The record says it, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, Bengals look like crap, but if they have a big game tonight, are we really going to count them out?
Do they really look like crap? I mean, they barely lost to the Chiefs. It took the refs helping the Chiefs last week.
The refs didn't really help them that much.
I mean, they kind of did. They kind of let them get away with stuff last night, too. So you just bet the Chiefs every time they play. You never try and
Bro, they're the new Lakers. Why do you think I hate the Lakers so much? It's so annoying.
They're the new Patriots. Keep it with the right sport. They're the Patriots now.
No, they're the Lakers. I hate the Lakers. All right. You want to talk about one of our most terrible picks? Oh, wait, all of them were terrible. So I don't even know which one was the most terrible.
Well, I'll let you know when it's the worst one.
What's up?
I mean, I can't believe Tampa Bay looked as bad as they did. But when the Broncos went down and scored, it looked like they were finally getting something put together on offense. And the Tampa Bay defense just could not stop anything. They were missing a bunch of pieces too.
Yeah, I don't think we took into account how their defensive line is just in shambles. So that's why I think we need to take that into account tonight, because I feel like Cincinnati's dealing with the same thing with all their starters missing on the defensive line. So
that just means Jaden Daniels' rush prop's going to get bet.
The reason that I'm not talking, Tyler, is I'm waiting for you to give Bo Nix his props.
I mean, he won a game. It's against a shell of a Tampa Bay defense who wasn't good to start with, outside of the run defense up front.
So you're refusing to acknowledge
he won a game. I'm not going to go and sit here and say he's like a good quarterback now.
Oh my gosh. For 26 points against an undefeated team, and he's not a good quarterback?
I'm not going to crown him after 1 week.
We're not crowning him. We're just moving him. You think he's like unplayable. I think he's like average.
I'd say of the rookie quarterbacks, he looks like when you watch them drop back with the ball, he looks the most comfortable.
Right now, but it's like you can already tell, like in 2 years, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are going to be way better.
In 2 years, those guys will be all right. Yeah. But as of right now, Bo Nix looks the most up.
Well, it makes sense. He's your age.
I think JJ McCarthy would have made him look second in that list, but we won't see him this year.
Or ever.
Yeah, we'll see him.
MVP Sam Darnold. How could you bench the MVP?
Because Sam Darnold's going to go back to the New York Giants this time and save the day.
No, he's not, bro. Not with this real coaching he's got now. Not with this real coaching, bro. LaFleur.
So they're just going to throw away the top 10 pick.
I don't know what they're going to do, but it's just like Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, right? I mean, like you invested this huge pick, but the other guy's balling out. You're not going to bench the guy who's balling.
You could get Darnold at 28-1 to win MVP if you actually believe that statement.
He's not really going to win MVP. I'm just Tyler. I'm in shambles today.
I think
do you understand what yesterday did to my heart and soul?
These odds spread.
I think that if we would have got some of the other picks right, I could have taken that Raiders loss in stride. But I mean, it was just like,
they suck. I said it. I said this is the typical spot that the Raiders. It's like, oh, they can't lose this game. What do? Lose the game. Let Andy Dalton throw for 300, multiple touchdowns in the first half. Shout out Kev for that plus 550 on Andy Dalton, 300 yards on a live bet. So, I mean, it's able to scrape some money out of that game. I will never, ever, ever, ever bet the Raiders again. Say it with me, spread. We're going to write it down on the chalkboard like Bart Simpson.
No, because they're going to be one of those dumb teams that's going to come through as an underdog, and I just shouldn't have bet them as a favorite. All right, hold on. We're bouncing around here.
Underdog NFL tweet as of just now. Raiders don't rule out potential quarterback change in week 4. They know Minshew sucks, and we put check down Charlie on the field in that fourth quarter, so good luck.
All right.
Just trade Devontae to the Jets.
Let's stay on focus here. Can we upgrade the Broncos in our power rankings after this performance?
Maybe like by a spot, but they're not going like flying up the rankings.
Okay, but let's say like they're a point better than we thought, right?
No, maybe
they got to go at least a point up, right?
No.
How do you figure Bo Nix is starting to look better? He was a rookie quarterback. He struggled against 2 good defenses to start. Now he's getting things going. And hey, we were big up in that Buccaneers defense all the first 2 weeks, right? Baker's this, Baker that.
All the impact
Browns
players
wish they had
out.
Baker. So you got to upgrade their defense as well.
The impact players were out on the defense, so they beat up on a shell of a defense. They're not just going to
but we got to upgrade the Broncos for holding the Buccaneers to 7 points then. Even if you don't want to give them credit, which they still deserve.
They're a half point better. They're not a full point better.
You just hate giving these guys credit, don't you?
I'm not giving them too much credit to where the numbers start to fluctuate their way, and then we're betting on them, and they're getting smashed the next game.
Who do they play next week? I think Kansas City.
They play the Jets. Let's go ahead and upgrade them.
Let's talk about this, man.
Hold on.
Let's talk about Meg's lack of patience. Someone tweeted this, and I agree. Is it better move for teams to sign these high capital retreads, Baker, Geno, Darnold, than draft top 5 QBs? I think so. Less risk and can build a team for draft.
I'm not going to lie. Before you get into that, I read retreads as a different word. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, I know. I already know what you read, and don't say it because we're here on the FanSpeak Network, and we don't want to get kicked off YouTube. But here's where, Meg, if you're only thinking like, for example, if you had terminal cancer and you're going to die next year, then yes, right? If you only have 1 season, it's much better. But just the potential of Caleb, the potential of Jaden Daniels, we haven't really seen Drake May yet. I don't think it is overall. I mean, at the end of the day, you need a top QB. And all these guys, Baker, Geno, Darnold, this is cool. It's fun. But are any of them championship contenders? As much as I want to like victory lap because I like the Vikings preseason and Tyler didn't, I already know what the ceiling of this team is, right? Maybe divisional round, depending on who they match up with in the first round. But I think to be a real championship contender, you got to have an elite guy. And so that's why you have to take a risk. So for 1 year, like, yeah, if you're looking for this year, right, and you only care about this year, of course, it's way better to get somebody with experience. But in the long run, you need a solid QB, and you're going to have to draft that guy. So and the other thing that we don't realize is these top 5 QBs go to absolutely terrible teams. Like, for example, I mean, look at CJ Stroud. He went number 2. I think he's a lot better than Baker, Geno, and Darnold, right? And you much rather be in the Texas situation, paying him next to nothing, right? But you just got to hope you hit. She says, patience outside of Stroud, and I believe in Caleb. Look how many failures over the past 5 years. Yeah, but there's failures at every single position. It's not just quarterback. So first-round draft rates are about 50%.
The other thing teams got to do is these guys draft on potential and 1 season of college production. Start looking for the guys that have played a few years and looked good every year. Like when they were like, oh, Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson because of 1 year in potential. And look how that went. Like, I know Deshaun didn't pan out in the end, but it was injuries and a lot of other stuff. So, I mean, AR drafted strictly off potential. Look how that's turning out. Like, you need these guys that can actually perform.
Yeah. But, I mean, so first-round draft picks are about 50% rate. Second round's about 25% hit rate. And third round and on is 10% hit rate for actually, like, becoming a starter or an alpha caliber guy. So, I mean, we can go through – we'd have to choose a couple of years drafts ago. But, I mean, there's plenty of picks in the top 10 at other positions that didn't pan out either. So, unless it's like an offensive lineman, offensive linemen have the highest hit rate in the top 10 out of anyone. But all right, we're going to move on. Meg, I'll wait for you to come on. We can argue about team building then. It wasn't at least a first round bust, a second round bust, but it looks like Will Levis is not going to be it, Tyler. I'm not surprised that the Packers won. I am surprised that they won so easily. 30-14.
Yeah.
No. I don't mean 50% at quarterback, Meg. I mean 50% overall. I'm talking every single position. So we're taking in wide receivers, right? Yeah. It's a 50% hit rate overall, right? Like, I mean, how many corners get drafted in the top 5 are terrible? Like, remember Jeff Okuda? I mean, there's misses at every single position, right? And I'm sure there's a couple wide receivers. Who is that wide receiver that got drafted by the Bears? Do you remember him about 4 or 5 years ago, Tyler? Like top 10, and he was just terrible.
I remember one a long time ago, Kevin White. It wasn't 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, White. How long ago was that?
That was when I was in like middle school.
Okay, I'm old. All right. All right, let's move on to the Packers, bro. This is where coaching matters. I mean, Malik Willis looking pretty good.
He's running the ball well, I'll say that.
Threw for 202 yards.
Most of those were designed short routes and like the touch passes to Jaden Reed.
Coaching.
That's it. Right? It's game planning and coaching. Yeah. So I know there's probably not much of a discount, but like I don't hate betting Green Bay right now 24-1 Super Bowl. Like they have the coaching and they're winning games with Malik Willis. They're keeping pace with Detroit. Jordan Love's going to be back next week or the following game, so this team's going to go right back to the top.
Yeah, I agree.
They're plus 290.
I'm not super high on the Packers like that, Tyler, but at that price, I can't argue.
Their defense has been the thing to talk about too. Their defenses look very good under this new coordinator.
It's pretty easy to look good against the Titans, though, right?
They've looked good every week.
They didn't look good against Philly.
Neither defense was good on that. They were playing on ice rink. Every guy slipped on defense.
The argument against me. All right. What do we do, Tennessee, bro? Do we just fade them every week?
Fade him until Mason Rudolph plays.
Even then, he sucks too.
He sucks, but he's got some weapons, and he was able to win games with the Steelers last year, and his weapons down there are a lot better.
That's such a different situation, though, because the Steelers are coached so well compared to the Titans.
I mean, it's all that bad spread. It's all Levis.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the guy that
Mason
did
Rudolph is Andy Dalton 2.0, but I just don't see it. At least Andy Dalton was like a quality starter. I mean, Rudolph's never been good.
I think Rudolph can play well with those weapons. He's back. This is where he played college ball at. Or no, he played at Okie State. But I mean, he'll be fine down there, spread. Trust me.
Okay, so I don't think Levis is going to get benched anytime soon. So we're fading the Titans for the next 3 weeks.
I think he'll get benched at some point. Like let's pull up their schedule. Like what do they got this week?
All right, yeah, pull it up.
This week they got Miami. So if they lose this Miami game to whatever quarterback's playing for them, I bet you he's not playing the next game. If he loses to Tim Boyle, Mason Rudolph plays next game.
All right. Maybe Dalton will.
I think there's potential that I think there's potential that you get the notification at some point this week that Mason Rudolph starts this week because
I don't think so.
Look around that, but look at the spot they're in. They're 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville's 0-3. Mm-hmm. Houston just took a loss.
Jacksonville's 0-2. You're assuming they're going to lose tonight. They could win.
Yes, they could lose tonight too.
They most likely will.
If you were, if you ever had that chance where it's like we have to try and make up ground right now if we want a chance at the division still, you have to win this Miami game. Like you have to.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really don't know, but I think they're gonna go with Levis to like week 10 or 11.
I mean, the coach already in the first game was taking off his headset, asking him what the F he was doing out there. So
that's coaching. Tomlin does that all the time, Tyler.
No, he doesn't. He stands there with his arms crossed and the team wins.
Yeah, that's badass. All right, Tyler. I've got some takes wrong so far this year, but your Vikings takes looking pretty bad. Are you ready to walk that one back, or are you going to die on that hill that the Vikings aren't good? So they beat the
Not
Houston
long enough.
Texans, a real Super Bowl contender at home, and they still don't get
I'll
credit.
walk
You are
this back.
the stingiest bank in the world. You will not give credit to anyone. If you ran a bank, you would give out no loans, no credit.
No, don't say that. I'm not one of those people. But what was I getting ready to say?
Sorry, I'm just trying to make jokes.
I'll walk this part of that take back spread. Flores has that defense playing very well.
Okay.
They look like one of the top units, and they don't have any real stars on that defense.
So throw him for 4 touchdowns. What does the guy got to do? 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns? What does Darnold have to do to get credit from you, Tyler?
I mean, he looks decent, but again, he played
in
Carolina and did the same.
Can't just say that this
he
is
did
some
the
terrible
same
team.
thing in Carolina for the first 3 weeks, and they were 3-0.
But
and
his
he was
coach
benched
is
by
so
week
much
9.
better now.
I understand that, but what if he goes out and has a bad game next game, and it all of a sudden it snowballs?
He's not going to. You said that last week, and he didn't.
We'll see. He's got Green Bay this week.
Where are they at?
In Green Bay.
Okay. He might lose that one.
This is the spot. This is the spot where I get the next week just run all my Minnesota finally got beat takes in.
Are you going to bet a Darnold interception?
Yep. Jari Alexander's taking one to the house just like this week.
Yeah. All right. I'm disappointed, Tyler, that you refuse to give the Minnesota Vikings credit at 3-0. Bro, that's a good win.
It's a good win, but again, I think it's more the defense. They were able to just completely shut down Stroud.
Okay, but we're talking about the team. Let's take this away from Darnold and just talk about the team, the Minnesota Vikings. First place, Minnesota Vikings. They got a win over the 49ers. They got a win over the.
I think they are no better than they were when they made 13 wins a couple years ago with Kirk Cousins, and they lost to the Giants in the first round.
Okay, 13-win team is still pretty good.
We knew
what Raiders fans would do to have a 13-win team.
They won 13 games, and they were the biggest fraud in the NFL. The Steelers went 11-0 one year, and everyone in Pittsburgh knew.
Quality wins.
It doesn't matter. You can say they're quality wins, but there's always pieces missing. Houston couldn't run the ball last game. They didn't have a running back.
Yeah, I wonder why. Looks like they could have used a man named Charbonnet back there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, way better than Joe Mixon.
Yeah, there we go, Steve. Well, the Raiders won 13 games in 3 seasons.
Oh, my gosh. They won't, and that's what the sad part is.
It's because your coach doesn't know what he's doing.
Either, so it's not even like I had that to be excited about. Tyree Wilson, give me an effing break. Anything more? What do we do with the Texans, right? I just write this off. Whoop-de-doo. They had a blip, right? I'm not downgrading them. Are you?
No, we're going to write them off. But let me guess. We got to upgrade the Vikings.
Of course we do.
But we're just going to write off the loss for the other team. That makes sense. That makes total sense.
No, it doesn't.
Exactly.
I mean, wait, you're right. No, talk to me, chat. Don't you guys, everyone agree we need to upgrade the Vikings after they beat the Houston Texans 34-7? They're now 3-0. What was their win total to start the year, Tyler? 7.5, 8.5?
Something like that.
Yeah, we got to keep bumping them up. All right. Let's talk about your favorite team. You're probably not going to give them credit either, right? So tell me why the Steelers didn't deserve to win this week, Tyler.
No, we deserve this one. We finally got the pressure through. TJ Watt broke the Joe Alt streak. He was able to keep Max Crosby off the quarterbacks. He didn't let anyone near him last week, and TJ Watt got in there this week, and we hurt him by the end of the game. So we broke the man. We took away his pressure streak. See how the Chargers fare. I think we hurt Herbert too. I think his ankle banged up again. So finished that game against Heineke. They weren't able to run the ball as good as they were. Another guy I'm not upgrading. I don't care how many touchdowns he catches in a row is Quentin Johnston. I still think he sucks.
How? Like, what does he have to do?
You watch him catch the ball. He can't catch it with his hands.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about? How do you catch the ball without using your hands?
Like this. And you use your chest to bring it into your chest. He can't do like I'm draped by man coverage. Let me reach out and snag this ball from the corner.
Okay, so he's not
just
like a
never
top
gonna
10 guy,
happen.
but he's serviceable.
He's like not even top 30. He's just fast, and he
He
gets
doesn't need
wide
to be
open on
30. He's
busted
the number
coverages.
2, right? So he needs to be top 60.
And he's right now. He's the number 1 on their team because Josh Palmer's out.
What about my guy Lab McConkey, who had 3 receptions and 44 yards?
I mean, yeah, he's the number 2. He's a slot guy. He's a new Hunter Renfro.
All right, so here's my issue with the Chargers and why I'm downgrading them. I think Slater's going to be out for a while. I don't know how long Joe Alt's out for, but Rashawn Slater got hurt last year, and we saw how much that team downgraded when they did. I mean, this Chargers team can never stay healthy in the history of their whole charging.
I don't think Alt's going to be out very long, if any. It was just like somebody fell on his knee, but it didn't look like.
But the reason they were so awesome was having those bookends. So now you take away one of them, and everything's going to start to crumble because, you talked about Alt shutting down Max Crosby. Well, they're just going to move him to the other side then. Where there was no reason to do that before. So this feel-good story with Harbaugh might come to a crashing halt, and it's going to be due to injuries. So I feel kind of bad for him. I wouldn't be surprised if Herbert was out next week either. Do they even have a line for his game for next week?
They're they're +7 against the Chiefs.
Okay, so that has to assume that he's out, right?
Yeah, probably.
They'd be like 3.5 otherwise, right? It's a division game.
They have no home field advantage.
Yeah, I would think that. So yeah, Herbert's out. We'll get to the Chiefs here real soon. All right. Are we ready to upgrade your Steelers as they continue to win, or what?
I mean, they were able to score and put some points on the board this game. I'll say that, but it's still a ton of field goals. Like we'll win the ugly one spread, but when you play a team that can put up points and they get to like 24, like we're probably.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be able to beat the top 5 teams, but everyone else are going to win. So for our regular season rankings, I think that they're awesome. I'm kind of with you. I don't really believe in this team for playoffs. Like who's Justin Fields going to out?
No, I don't.
Right when you got to go against Burrow, Lamar, Allen. All right. Well, congratulations to you. Rooting for a real franchise. I have no idea what that feels like. All right, Tyler.
Trade rest of Miami.
Cool. Go ahead.
Thoughts?
What's up?
I said thoughts on that.
I mean, why not?
I think
it's hard to trade quarterbacks. I mean, like that system is so much different. So he spent like Arthur Smith's system and McDaniel's. Or McDaniel. He's a singular.
Yeah, but it's different. But Russ is yet to play in it.
But he spent the whole offseason learning this playbook. Now you're going to have him.
I agree.
Playbook.
But
I mean, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't expect much.
But like just thinking this through, it's like, yeah, he's learned this whole new playbook for this year. But you look back on his past playing in Seattle, he kind of played with guys that were just speed.
He played with Waldron, that stupid Chicago playbook. It's the same deal.
Yeah, he was best at just lobbing the ball down the field when he did throw it. And you would be giving him Tyreek Hill and Jayden Waddle and a fast running back. So I think it would work.
Might as well, but yeah. I just wouldn't have high expectations. Any other position you can trade, I just think it's so tough to trade quarterback in season.
It all comes down to what Miami wants to do this season too. Like, are they trying to salvage it and make playoffs, or are they just gonna pack it in and see what happens?
The way McDaniels is acting on the sideline, I think they're trying to salvage it.
Yeah, that's why I think they should trade for Russ.
Yeah, I don't think it'll matter. I think when they gave Tua all that money, they allowed too many key pieces on both sides of the line to go, and they can't win the battle at the line of scrimmage. So whoop-de-doo, you have this genius play caller who looks so cool and draws up these awesome plays. Like I see all the X's and O's guys like salivating because he does still drop like the awesomest plays, but just gave too much money to a guy who can't get it done. And even if he was playing, I still wouldn't be high on him. So I'm not even well, first of all, you guys knew he was injury prone. So that was I wish JC was on here. I think his team is worse off than mine. Giving Tua all that money.
They gave a quarterback money based off of what his weapons did for him last year. Like,
yeah. Anyone
he's never played good without weapons.
Yeah, anyone could have done good in that system. So, well, anyone except for Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. So, not anyone, but close. All right, Tyler, do you want to talk about another terrible pick by ours? And I thought JC would be on here to victory lap this one. Bro, how did the Browns lose?
I mean, it's Winston time in Cleveland. They got to put somebody else in there.
They can't run the ball, so I don't think it matters.
I mean, that's Jerome Ford who can't run it, but this offensive line also doesn't look good.
No, they look terrible.
They let Malik Neighbors.
Weren't they look really good 2 years ago?
Them.
Yeah.
Their offensive line, yes. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league.
It's gone now.
Yeah. It's gone. It's hurt. I think you just put Winston in there and let him chuck it down the field to Cooper and Judy and these guys.
Might as well. What's up, Jamie? I just don't see how they turn it around this year. And same deal with the Tua deal. I mean, they got so much money. How do they even shore it up in the offseason? You got so much money going to a bum.
Yeah, they got to do something.
Both teams, actually. Like, let's not get too high on the Giants now.
Malik Neighbors is going to ruin Giants fans for years because he's going to make Daniel Jones look good enough to keep him.
I don't think so. They have to know. They have to know, right?
I mean, they let Saquon walk. He's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
But he drops it the one time I lay points with the Eagles. Unbelievable. All right. I mean, we already had the Browns pretty low, so we're not going to downgrade them anymore.
No.
Giants, do we even want to upgrade them, or do we just say like Cleveland sucks and we just misread that?
Cleveland sucks because the Giants gave them so many chances in the fourth quarter to win that game. They just couldn't do anything on offense. The one drive they started to get it moving, Winston bobbled the snap and dropped it.
Watson.
Or Watson, yeah. Did I say Winston?
Yeah.
Yeah, Winston would have threw it for a 50-yard touchdown or a pick, but I would have liked that better.
Giants host the Cowboys next week. They're catching 4.5 on Thursday Night Football.
They're getting
I know we're going to do that tomorrow, but really?
That is the easiest bet.
Cowboys are so overrated.
You know what they do to the Giants every time they play them?
That's a good point. All right, we'll continue this discussion tomorrow.
And you're getting a gift of a line because they just lost again, and they almost came back and won that Baltimore game. Oh yeah, they're gonna absolutely pound the Giants on Thursday night.
We'll talk about this more tomorrow. Jamie says Browns defense supposed to be elite. That's what I don't get. These defensive things don't hold from year to year.
Didn't Myles Garrett get carted off the field too at some point?
Yeah, Myles Garrett
that'll kill the defense.
Yeah, but I think it just shows that like defense doesn't travel because last year the Browns defense was better than Pittsburgh's defense, right, Tyler?
Yeah, they were both probably like 1 and 2. But here's the thing about.
But you guys had Patrick Queen.
But if TJ Watt was to get carted off of our defense the same way Myles Garrett just did, we would have lost that Chargers game, and we've been asking if our defense is all that good. So
TJ Watt is the best non-quarterback in football.
Those two are so key to they are the defensive quarterbacks on their defenses. Like they go out, your defense isn't the same.
Who's a better player than TJ Watt, non-quarterback? No one.
Justin
Who would
Jefferson.
You rather have? Who?
Justin Jefferson.
No, TJ Watt helps you win more than Jefferson. 3-0, Justin Jefferson behind the string of Sam Darnold and the fighting Minnesota Vikings. All right, yeah, Meg. I mean, I don't know. I know your franchise is just as bad. Although I think you guys have more of a future than we do. At least you guys have the answer at quarterback. I know you don't want to believe it, but
there's you and Meg. There's you and Meg in one boat, and then there's me and Jamie in another boat because Jamie's team can draft quarterbacks like the back of their hand. Brett Favre, Rodgers, Jordan Love.
Crosby. Yeah, he's up there. I think Watt's a little better though, because Alt shut down Crosby and TJ Watt got loose against him. So He says neighbors kept avoiding Denzel Ward. I mean, might as well. That's why I say corner defensive linemen are so much more important than corners. You can stay away from a corner. You can't stay away from a defensive lineman.
Very true.
All right, Tyler. Your little victory laps continue here. I'm not necessarily surprised the Saints lost. They only put up 12 points. I feel so stupid. All week last week I said the Eagles defense sucks. Eagles defense this. Their defense isn't as good. They don't have the players. They can't win at the line of scrimmage. Blah, 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 blah. And now I sound dumb, 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 dumb. So go ahead. Let me hear it.
You should have never trusted a Derek Carr and Dennis Allen led Saints team.
You're right.
It's just plain and simple. Like, Derek Carr is not all that good.
Bro, he totally regrets. He looked so good the first 2 weeks, and then he just went to looking like shit.
Yeah, he played Carolina week 1. Like, okay, understandable. You look good. Everyone looked good in weeks 1 and 2.
Yeah, but you think Dallas is going to smash the Giants? So that has to be pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, we know Dallas lays eggs every once in a while. And Amon-Ra St. Brown's podcast, he made a good point talking to his brother who plays for the Saints. He's like, you guys just happened to catch Dallas on one of those games where they just laid an egg. Like, they couldn't stop anything. That? They were up for. Yes, he was like, you guys aren't that good. He's like, you guys literally caught.
He told him that?
Yes. And he was right because now
I'm going to start. Send me that podcast. I got to start listening.
Their offense regressed heavily. They couldn't run the ball with Kamara, which they couldn't do the last 2 years. Everyone just thought because he scored 4 touchdowns in a game, he was just back. They only have one real weapon in Chris Olave. Like, Shaheed's a deep threat, but he can't do much out of anything else out of that. Their offensive line gave up pressure. Derek Carr was getting hit.
And that's where I completely got it wrong. I thought their offensive line was going to win that off the line of scrimmage and give Philadelphia credit.
And I will give you credit because you've been saying it for a while. Their defense does look pretty good watching them play. But they are the land of misfit toys on defense. I'll say that. Their defense is just a bunch of old guys and guys that were like departed from their team that just ended up in New Orleans, and now they've somehow put together a good unit.
Yeah, but I mean,
the Honey Badger was passed around the league.
Defense, when you don't miss your assignments is so key. When you can call a play and just know that everybody's going to execute their job to perfection, it's so key. And I'll tell you what, I'm not necessarily surprised the Eagles won, but I just thought they win to be like 34-31. I did not think that the Saints would be held to. Okay, so obviously I got this wrong. Tell me how I got it wrong. Are the Eagles way better than I thought? And you can't say both. You have to choose one. Or are the Saints way worse than I thought?
The Saints are way worse than you thought. I've been trying to tell you that every week.
I know.
They're not good. I'm almost positive they scored more points in week 1 and week 2 than like 90% of their games combined last year. They couldn't score a goddamn point last year, and then all of a sudden, just because of an offensive coordinator change, no talent change whatsoever. It's still all the same. It's a big deal, but with no talent change, all of a sudden they were going to be 40 points a game.
Well, they added one of the top offensive tackles in the league, that rookie.
But huge. He's not going to spike you up 30 points a game higher than you were scoring last year is what I'm saying. There ain't an NFL coach out there that can guru up an offense to score an extra 30 points a game. Maybe at the high school level, maybe at the college level, but you're not doing it at this level.
It's so sad for me. At least I wanted to be right about the Saints. What's up, Clyde? All right, do we want to talk about it?
There was literally no one. And the thing about it, too, is like, we think their defense is really good. Well, like, I think they're decent. You think they're really good? Again, just like
they held the Eagles 15 points.
But no, here's the thing. They played Carolina in week 1. Bryce Young. That is literally the explanation.
Right, fair enough.
Week two, you had a 14-point lead before you even had to touch the field twice. So you knew they were just throwing the ball on you. You had to just stop passes. Week 3, yeah, you held the Eagles to 15, but you got gouged by their only skill. You got gouged by their only 2 skill players you had to worry about. Saquon had 2 touchdowns and 140 yards, and Dallas Goedert had 170 receiving yards. They killed Devontae Smith mid-game, or he would have had 102. They can't stop the key players. I'll say that. They had 2 guys to worry about on a 10-man offense. They couldn't stop them. They had the game 1 spread, and they let Dallas Goedert go for 70 yards on a drag route.
Everything you're saying is right. Screw it. This just shows. I'm about to end this show right now. I hate this. All right. Because guess what we get to talk about now, Tyler? The afternoon slate. What the fuck happened in Las Vegas?
You guys stink. But before we get into that game, just to talk about the Saints a little bit more.
Okay.
They're in Atlanta this week, and Atlanta's only -1.5. Atlanta had a real argument that they should have won that game last night because they missed the penalty call in the end zone. That probably should have given the ball on the 1.
They probably shouldn't have. They
but
probably.
I think that Atlanta spot's going to be nice for us.
They're probably terribly coached as well.
Yeah. But
we're not playing Atlanta
back to the Raiders. We're going to talk about a team we're never ever betting again, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Bro, we're going to be able to bet them again, bro. Don't overreact. No,
they can't run the ball. They can barely throw it.
True.
They're going to trade Devontae Adams at some point to the Jets for a pick.
Maybe.
Also true. Don't be surprised if another trade they make close to the deadline is Max Crosby for a bunch of picks.
No.
He's
already talked about it. That would be so stupid.
He's talked about it. He said, if the team is bad, he said, if the team is bad, I may look into requesting a trade because I don't have many years left.
He didn't say this. You're talking about Bill Cosby, not Max Crosby. No,
it's Crosby. First name Max, who plays defensive end for the Raiders. The man wants to win football games, spreading your coach is incompetent, your offense is incompetent. You guys kind of suck.
All right. Give me advice on what you think.
I mean, on the bright side, you'll probably draft Shedeur Sanders next year.
Oh, great. Give me a. I don't think we will. I don't think Dion will go there. Dion's not going to let this kid play there.
No, that's the team. That's the team Dion wants him on. Dion doesn't want him on.
Why would he want him on Vegas? We're absolutely terrible. We've been terrible for 20 years.
That's a spot I think he would want him.
No,
he sees if the weapons stay the same, yeah, he
No, hold on. Let's go to Tankathon right now. Let's look at the options.
You're not getting back. You're not getting.
No, I'm talking about where Dion's going to want his kids to go. All right. Right now on Tankathon, don't you think he'd rather have his kid in Tennessee?
Isn't Vegas a little closer to where he's at right now?
I don't think he gives a fuck about proximity. He wants his kid to win. But I don't know if they're a good run organization, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and New England are not in the market for quarterback. I doubt
Jacksonville. Yeah, they're not.
They have too much invested in Trevor. They can't.
Yeah, they're not drafting quarterback. There's so many ads on this; it's making my computer freeze.
What, Tankathon?
Yeah.
Stupid, huh? Miami, no, right? I mean, I'm sure he'd want him there, but I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. Do you?
No, he doesn't want him in Carolina.
What about Cleveland?
I don't think he wants him there. I don't think he wants him in Cleveland. I think his dream scenario would be Dallas, but they just signed Dak to the major deal, so it's not happening.
Yeah. What about New York?
No,
the Giants.
You don't want him a Giant.
Why not?
Outside of the Eli years, they've been ran terribly spread. What was his name? Tom Coughlin? He was the head coach and also did something in the front office. Ever since he's been gone, they have been terrible.
You know who Tom Coughlin's advising, right? Antonio Pierce. Because that's who was his coach.
Maybe he needs to fire him.
What's up?
Maybe he needs to fire Antonio Pierce. And that's how he advises them.
Well, he's just an advisor. I think he just calls him on the phone.
What about the Rams? I could see Shedeur being a Ram.
I think Stafford's got 2-3 years left. Not going to Atlanta. Not going to Denver. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I guess there's not a lot of places that will be looking for him. All right. Well, Chargers. Clyde, come on. All right. So here's my issue with the Raiders. Actually, Seattle's possible, but he'd have to drop so far, Clyde. Seattle's like 3-0 right now. And he's not going to fall to like 15 or whatever. I guess they could trade up for him, but I don't know if they would.
That's why I said the Rams, because the Rams finally have picks now that they can trade again, that they just trade up and go get their next quarterback. Sit him behind Stafford for a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they get rid of Stafford, they realize they're rebuilding, and I don't think they'd want to give up picks.
But if McVay also goes to them and he's like, I like this kid, like, this is my guy, like, I think they'll get him.
I don't think so. All right. But I've been wrong about everything this weekend. Okay, so Tyler, here's my issue with the Raiders. I actually like what Pierce is trying to do. I want to be like a little Tomlin or a little Vrabel where we run the ball and we play good defense, right? The problem is the team can't fucking run the ball. and their scheme doesn't fit the runner. Zamir White needs to be in a power scheme. Now they're running zone.
Yeah,
and we're not going to flip this line anytime soon. I have no idea what to do, but I don't want to fire another coach. So obviously,
they're going to fire. They're going to fire him
1 year after giving him.
You guys need a real quarterback. Also, like Minshew's not it. Aiden O'Connor.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, can we really downgrade Pierce for not winning with Gardner and Minshew?
No, but that's how the NFL works. I think he was already. Like, there was the chance he didn't get rehired last year, but he had the locker room, so they were like, we're going to ride with our guy. If he does as bad as I think he looks like he's going to do this year, he might get fired by the end of the year or right at the end of the year.
I mean.
And Jamie's right. Zamir White is this year's Madison from last year.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But, and I drafted so much of them, too. I'm like, I like leaving like Vermont.
Well, on the bright side, you drafted Brock Bowers every time I did a draft with you, so and he looks good.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Tyler. What do we do with the Panthers?
Nothing.
Are they like average now?
They're not as well. A very, very slight upgrade, but I don't think we should move them from being the worst team in the league because one, they were 0-2. They swapped the quarterbacks. It was the Raiders. He looked good, but this is one of those things where it's like, oh, quarterback change, bumping the team. They look good 1 week. Next week, they're right back to what we thought they were. So I'm not going to go crazy. Like, what would this game this week against Cincinnati, because that's who they play, Cincinnati, Carolina, be if your Raiders were able to win that game? Even if they won it by 3 against the Panthers, say 24-21. Bengals are probably, what, -8?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Bengals play the Panthers this week. If the Panthers lost to the Raiders this week, hypothetically, say by 3, what would that Bengals line be at for this week? -8?
Depends on how they look tonight.
Well, right now it says they're -5.5. If
right.
they come out of this game healthy tonight, they're gonna.
Bro, the Panthers' offensive line is playing well, and the Bengals' defensive line is beat up, just like the Buccaneers.
I'm not going to give them full credit for, like.
I mean, we got to upgrade
just because
them like 2 points.
I had the hunch. I even said it. You can go back and watch last week's video. I said this is the spot where the Raiders always mess everything up, and that's exactly what they did. So I can sit here and just say, oh, like, I'm going to give them all the credit because they won the game because I kind of seen it.
But they have a professional quarterback as opposed to like Tim Boyle 2.0.
No, I agree. But he's also, when we seen him last year play, he was throwing a lot of picks. Yeah, he would put up yards, but he played a lights out game against a team that couldn't stop anything. So see what happens next week.
F me, dude. I mean, it's like 3 games in and I'm already ready for next season in the draft. You got to be kidding me. This sucks. It's just absolutely
looking at Tankathon, seeing what quarterback you're going to get.
Bro, and I don't really even like him that much except for Beck. Oh, I like Cam Ward, but you don't. I definitely don't like the kid from Texas.
The worst thing for you, too, is your team's going to fall in love with an edge rusher come draft time, and they're going to draft him in the first round and try and get a quarterback in the second.
I mean, I'll take another edge rusher.
What if he's as good as Tyree Wilson?
Yeah, boy, what a great pick. Kidding me. Team just sucks. The franchise sucks. Coaching sucks. The offensive line sucks. You know what's crazy? The offensive line isn't that bad in pass blocking. They just can't run block. I just wish Pierce would see that. Like, they should just be throwing every play. They just suck. F me. But you know who's worse off, and that's probably why JC didn't show up today? The Miami Dolphins, dude. They gave Tua, who's not even that good, all that money, and now they're going to go into this week with Tim Boyle. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's the new Devontae Adams, just going to be not getting any stats.
Yeah, top 5 pick in best ball in every redraft league, and he's probably going to bury a lot of people. So they're done for the year. Cross them. I think.
So here's the thing: are the Seahawks even that good? Because who did they beat?
Patriots last week. Week 1 was
someone who's crappy.
Denver.
Yeah,
they beat Denver.
A rookie quarterback in his debut on the road. Then they barely beat the Patriots, and now they beat a Dolphins team that had me at quarterback. I mean, it might be the most unimpressive 3-0. It's like that Vikings team that you talked about, Tyler, that lost to Daniel Jones. It's got that type of feeling where they're going to put up this great record, and they're just not that good. I mean, I want them to be good. They have an excellent running back in Zach Charbonnet, 18 rushes, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. What you know about that, Tyler?
I think they're going to win the division.
Niners might come back.
I think they can get away from the Niners pretty quick.
I could see a 4-game losing streak for this team real quick, too. They haven't done anything impressive yet. I want them to be good.
I mean, I'll pull up schedules, but I know the Niners got some hard games coming up, so they could lose a couple quick ones a lot faster.
Yeah, but they're missing their 3 best offensive players. It was 3-1 when we talked about it last week. Clyde is asking what's the odds Seattle win the West.
They're plus 190. It was 3-1
when we talked it. Yeah, plus 190 makes sense.
They have New England, which is probably a win. Then they play Arizona. I'm not going to count that as a win. At Seattle versus Kansas City versus Dallas, at Tampa Bay versus Seattle versus Green Bay, at Buffalo. San Francisco's schedule could look a lot. Their record could be flipped upside down very quickly.
Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, Tyler. How did they give up 19 points in the fourth quarter and make this game look respectable?
Because they always fall asleep at the wheel. It looks like they're going to blow them out. They put up all these points, and then they just kind of walk off the field and tell the other team if they can score enough to win, that they can have the game. They almost gave that game to Dallas. It took some runs late from Derrick Henry and Lamar to seal that game. Their offensive line is still a problem in my eyes. They can't really protect these guys very well. They were able to put up points, but again, are we 100% sold Dallas is the unit they were last year? No,
they're terrible. I don't think they're that good.
I think they're good enough to beat New York, so I'll be on them on Thursday.
All right. Are they going to cover?
Lamar versus NFC teams. What's that? 23-1.
21-1 now.
Yeah. So.
All right. Anything more about that game? I mean, to me, it's like 2 overrated teams facing off.
Yeah, I don't think you upgrade anything there.
Yeah. All right, Lions Cardinals. I was hoping this game would go over. I was hoping to be a shootout. It was not. What did you think?
Yeah, I love the fact that we got the Kyler Murray prop in the first quarter. He ran the ball 3 times and already had the 30 yards we needed. I'm going to keep betting that until they put that in the 50s. But Arizona's defense looked a little better in this game. They were able to slow down the Lions. They weren't letting them just cruise down the field and score every time. The Lions were able to run the ball very effectively, but they're going to be able to do that with this offensive line. They've had the best offensive line in the league. But I think Arizona's a little better than their record shows. I will say that.
All right. 49ers blow it to the Rams. What a meltdown. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Jordan Mason isn't the guy he was in the first 2 weeks, and he regresses to being the backup that we always thought he was. To be completely honest, he's probably a 3rd string back on a lot of teams because CMC commands so much work and
He's
he's so
definitely
much
third
money
string
that you
back on
probably don't have.
Seattle behind Zach Charbonnet. We know that.
Yeah, but what I was getting to before you had to take that victory lap again on the one you had, but
It's the only thing I got right.
The money and the workload CMC commands is, I think it's similar to like when Peyton Manning was the quarterback in Indy, where it's like, oh, why doesn't Peyton have a reliable backup? And it's like, because if Peyton goes down, we're probably screwed. If CMC goes down, you're probably screwed at running back. Yeah, Mason looked good for 2 weeks, but he's just kind of a bulldozing running back. He can't do anything else. And if you can stuff him at the line, he's not going to do all that well. They can't really throw the ball. Ayuk does not look good at all. Jennings had a great game, probably his game of his career outside of the Super Bowl last year. So can we rely on him to score 3 touchdowns a game? No. Trent Williams also got banged up. That'll be the death of this team if he goes out also. So they need these guys back in the worst way. I'm not going to sit here and say Purdy's a fraud because, I mean, he's looked halfway decent.
Purdy played great. That wasn't his fault. They gave up 13 points in the fourth quarter.
It wasn't his fault. Like, yeah, I wouldn't blame him.
And he had 3 weapons down, and he still looked fine. He's missing his top.
Yeah, like people were trying to give him shit for last week against Minnesota, but Minnesota was able to slow down Stroud too. So I think Purdy's fine. He is not a system quarterback. Yeah.
No, he'd be good anywhere. I'll take him in Vegas. I'll tell you that much. All right. Upgrade the Rams a little bit. They just continue to show, no matter what the injury report says, they're still alive. Last night's game. Bro, I don't want to hear about the refs, dude. The Chiefs are just better than the Falcons.
They're definitely better, but that last drive, that one play where the D-back never turned around and Drake London tried to catch it in the end zone, like that's the flag.
That was Kyle Pitts.
They didn't throw it, but
yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts. But in the end,
you're right there. But I mean, like, if we're gonna just go on one call every single week for this Chiefs team, I don't know.
And
I mean, they are the Lakers. It's kind of annoying.
Until Pacheco's back or Kareem Hunt shows some kind of life.
Well, Pacheco's not coming back.
Just bet Rashee Rice's receptions and alt them things up to like 10 for the rest of the year, because they ran the ball with Carson Steele, but like he's not going to break runs for 20 yards. I think he's going to have fumble problems at some point because he runs like a bowling ball and he's going to slam into one of these linebackers and he's going to get crushed one good time. A lot of their run plays were like drag routes to Rice and little dump offs, so he's just going to eat on receptions. So I like that call.
All right. You want to go into tonight's games?
We can, but I was going to say I slightly upgrade the Falcons even off the loss. They looked a lot better than I thought they would. They looked better than I thought they would. Their defense is better than I thought it was. And having those 2 safeties in Simmons and Bates is going to hinder a lot of teams. You're basically taking away the middle of the field. The tight ends are useless. They're going to be a problem. They're not the team we've seen week 1 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that. I think a lot of that is just how good Pittsburgh's defense is. To me, Pittsburgh's defense is like the defense.
Kirk didn't move in that game either. Like Kirk didn't run around. He wasn't mobile at all. He didn't take any play action plays. They were all out of shotgun. Now he's under center doing play action, scrambling a little bit, even ran a ball.
Back to his strength. So.
Yeah. So I think
all right, that's fair enough. As much as we've been arguing today, I can't actually argue that. So good points there. All right, let's talk about tonight. Doubleheader, which I think are stupid, but whatever. I'm sure you guys think that my NFL takes are stupid. The Buffalo Bills are -5. Tyler, they're taking on the winless Jacksonville Jaguars. Totals 46.5. I don't like this game at all. I have no idea what to do. Tell me what you're doing.
I don't like it either. I mean, everyone's going to say Buffalo looked dominant last week because of the James Cook 3 touchdowns. But that game was over the moment Tua curled up in a ball and was concussed because they knew Miami wasn't going to be able to do anything. So they just
it was over before that.
You're probably right. It was probably over before that. But
Tua looked crappy the whole game.
But with him in the game, you kind of had to stay alert because you know how Miami could do it at any moment. There's 2 touchdowns on the board and they're storming back. So once he went out, they literally shut the game off. They just ran the ball every play, chewed as much clock as they could, and the game was over very quickly. Jacksonville probably should have beat Miami week 1, and Etienne fumble screwed them in that one. They did not look good last week against the Browns, but they lost Evan Ingram right before the game started in warm-up. So you got to think that hindered the game plan a little bit.
A little bit.
Now they're 0-2. They're 0-2, and this is the
I
kitchen
mean, Trevor
sink
looks
game.
terrible, bro. 14 of 30 last week.
He does look terrible. I'm getting to that. He does look terrible, but this is the kitchen sink game, and I'm not going to keep fading these 0-2 teams and watch them storm out and play well and win a game because they know 0-3 is pretty much death. We talked about the Titans needing a win because Houston finally took a loss. The Jags were the second highest favored team to win this division. They were 8-3 at one point last year before all the injuries killed them. You got to think that they're squirming to get a win. I think they are a lot more live than people give them credit for tonight. Buffalo's defense, they gave up a lot of points in week 1 to Arizona. And then last week they were able to stop a guy that we knew they stop every time they play him. I think this matchup's going to be a little tougher for them. I know Lawrence hasn't looked good. I think he's going to run the ball tonight well, him and Etienne. And I think they're going to get Brian Thomas going too. So I'd probably be on the Jags.
All right, you're on the Jags. Any thoughts on the total? 46.5.
Small lean to the over, but probably just leave the total alone.
Commanders were 7.5. They're down to +7. Tyler, I agree with that move. I think the Commanders are going to be able to run the ball. I want the points in that game. Am I stupid?
I think so a little bit.
Why?
I think you're facing a frustrated Cincinnati team. Yeah, they lost week 1. That was understandable. Chase was off the contract dispute, didn't practice at all. Higgins goes out. They could literally only run the ball, and New England was a lot better the first couple weeks than we thought until the injuries killed them coming into Thursday night.
Fair enough.
Then they play the Chiefs very well, and again, we can argue the refs thing, but they were live in that game to win it up until the end, and Jamar Chase had the 15-yard penalty. It kind of hindered them too. So now they play a defense that's non-existent. Cincinnati's going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to throw the ball. They're going to put points on the board. I think this is a spot where they score 30+. I'm not sure Washington can keep up. And what happens when Cincinnati goes up 14 or 17 points and the run game's just kind of out of the window for Washington? Like, Daniels could still run the ball. I don't mind his prop, but I don't want to be on these running backs really. Maybe a Daniels interception if it's not juiced crazily, which it probably is. -120 for him to throw an interception. I don't hate that at all.
That's not bad.
So I think Cincinnati might come out and just work this Washington team here. I'll be on Chase props. I think he finds the end zone.
Tyler likes the Jaguars and the Bengals. All right, Tyler. Any final thoughts? Using.
Yeah, the only props I was looking at for this one, the Chase touchdown, some Jaden Daniels rushing props. As for the Jags game, this is like a tough to swallow bet, but I might want to bet this one, the Josh Allen under on his rushing yards. They said it last week that they don't really want to have him running the ball as much anymore. And that number is still kind of high. So I think you might not see him run it as much. I don't hate getting on a Ray Davis over 16.5 because they've showed they wanted to get him more involved. I think that number is kind of low. And what is Brian Thomas's receiving yards? That's another one I like. 44.5. I think that's low for him. He has been Trevor Lawrence's best target. So love that.
All right, let's take a couple questions from the chat, then we'll log off. Is it a good time to buy low on Benson and Dynasty? You know the saying, out of sight, out of mind. Same thing with Corum for the previous question. I love Corum and Dynasty. Benson, not so much. What do you think, Tyler?
Benson looks like he's running in mud.
Yeah, he's too slow.
Buy in as much on that.
But I think Corum's fine for Dynasty. Just stash him and wait till next year.
Yeah, we haven't even seen Corum hit the field yet, so I think he'll be fine.
All right. Clyde says, what do you think of teasing the over on the Bengals game and Jags up to 11.5?
I don't tease overs.
Maybe down to 40 in that game.
I just don't like doing that.
All right. Clyde says no. What do you think of under Josh Allen on the rush attempts?
I don't hate that. Let's see what the number is on that.
I wouldn't do that. If your handicap's correct, the game's close, he's going to run a lot.
They've made comments
doing stuff, Clyde.
They don't want him running the ball as much, spread, and he had that hand injury coming into the last week. He only ran the ball one time last week, which the game was out of hand in the second half. But 6.5 on his rushing attempts. I'd want to go back and look and see how many times he's covered that.
I think I would sell on Benson.
Jamie. I would.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Tyler, before we log off?
Pretty much it for me.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow attempting to rebound Bro, being a Raiders fan sucks, dude. Just absolutely sucks. Like, what's the point of existing? All right, Tyler. That's it for us. Fanspeak.com. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully my mood is better. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me do the outro.